Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoyed this interview. All right, welcome back to the program. My guest is joining me right now, Mr. Anduka Ude, who is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Export and Sell Limited. Mr. Ude, good to have you again this month. Welcome, good morning.
How are you? How are you, Nancy?
I'm very well, thank you. We're doing a part two of this because we did part one last week and it generated a lot of interest. So we decided to do a part two. And hello, guys,
Sure.
for those of you on the inside, welcome to the inside. Thank you. I can see a few of you online here. So, so, Mr. De, let's get started.
Sure.
What do you think are really the issues for, uh, as a Nigerian business person that is into export now? Because I see even from
Mhm.
our last discussion last month, a lot of people, went on social media and they were asking us questions around, I'm involved in social business, I want to export my goods, I want to export my products, but I don't even really know how
Yeah.
to start. Can we really start on that basis? And is it a difficult
So
thing?
again, well, it's not as easy as it should be. That is the key thing that we need to realize. And again, you see, government needs to play a major role. When we are talking about export, we need to simplify the process, right? As exporter, I should let me give you an example. Depending on what you're going to need different licenses. You need to go to one agency here, another agency there. Why can't we have a unified system at our ports, right? So that as an exporter, when I go to one location, I'm able to see all the agencies there. They do whatever they need to do, and that is it. So again, the biggest issues is the policies. The government really needs to pay attention to what the private say. We must simplify the process. And then secondly, a lot of exporters are negligent of what is needed to go into export, right? Many people think, oh, if I want to export, what do I call now, dried fish or whatever it is, the process you use to send fish from Lagos to maybe Asaba is not the same process that you're going to use it to send it internationally. Each country have their own rules. So again, training is important. You must know the rules for the into before you go into export. So again, in summary, if we can deal with simplifying the process, training, we should be very good with export. Like I always say, create the enabling environment, the private sector will just take over from there.
Now, you talk about certifications. Can you just run me through some certifications that are needed if you want to export for those that are listening? And does that certification differ for different kinds of products?
Yeah, definitely. So if I'm exporting food, right? So when we talk about certifications, you basically have two key categories. I'll classify it as two. One has to do with anything that has interaction with the human body, things like cosmetic and food. So there is always a different certification, and that's where agencies like NAFDAC comes in. If I want to export finished product, processed products, either food or cosmetic, make sure you are certified by NAFDAC before you go into export. Because when you reach the port, you are going to have the NAFDAC officials there who are going to ask for your NAFDAC license. So that is one. Now, if you are now exporting any other thing, leather, fashion, again, depends on the quantity. You may not need any certification. It's just a matter of taking it to the ports. The customs officers at the port will do their normal inspection and then they let it go, right? Now, if you are doing things like and craft, you are also going to need form of certification. You typically get it from the National Museum. And that is just to make sure that we are not exporting our cultural artifacts, all those cultural artifacts of the Benin Kingdom, the Ile-Ife and co. We are not exporting those type of things. So in summary, if you are doing food, you need some form of certification from NAFDAC. If you are doing cosmetic, you need it. Every other thing, it just depends on what you are doing. And again, take note, certification is not just only in Nigeria. The country you are also exporting to is also going to require you to have some form of certification. So, for example, if you're exporting to the US and you are exporting food, you need to have the FDA food facility registration. If you're exporting to Canada, it's almost the same thing. If you are exporting to other locations, you're going to have the same thing.
Okay, just before I go to people on the inside, I can hear an echo of my voice. Please unmute your mic if there's anyone that is putting the audio on. Um, how essential is export for us as Nigerians right now? How essential is it, Mr. Ode? Because we've seen what's been happening with our foreign exchange. As a country, we do not export so much to gain, to get the dollars. We are, like almost like a monoproduct economy whereby we export crude oil. And even though we export the crude oil, we still import fuel for our fueling stations here. So how essential is it for you as a business person, perhaps into products, manufacturing of products or made in Nigeria products, that you really need to put in place, for your products to be exported?
For any country. Nothing as important as that. If you take a look at what has happened in Nigeria in the last, I'll probably say 2 to 3 weeks, right? We have a situation where the CBN, nobody knows what they really did. Some people say they injected money, dollars into the system. There are reports out that they put in over $1 billion into the system to clear the backlog. Now, what happened? We saw our dollar going from about 1,600 to about 1,000. And as soon as that backlog was cleared, the normal demand for FX has come in. And you see the dollar again rising to about 1,003, 1,004 as of this week. That tells you that we are still in a situation where we need to generate more FX. And the only way we can generate FX is simple. We have to go more into export. Now, one of the things the government needs to do, right, is start sensitizing people from an early age on the importance of export. I believe that every education, every university, from university level, just like we have the GS001, the general knowledge, there should be a program dedicated to export to teach us from an early stage how to go into export. Now, for those companies who are already selling locally, you have to go into, because you need FX for your raw materials. You need FX for so many things, machineries and all those things. And those are the things that is clogging up our FX system, making the dollar to rise. So we cannot overemphasize it. Every sector, every business, the desire should be that at least 20 to 30% of your earnings should be through FX. I think if the government can put such policies in place, simplify the process, your businesses gradually going into the export sector, and that will put reduce the strain on our FX.
Okay, let's now go with questions. For those of you that want to ask Mr. Ode a question, you can actually do that. But I have a few questions here, of course, from participants inside too, because we can just take a few videos here. Mr. Ode, there's Delight K Food is asking, as a newbie in the export market, what would you advise in this Nigeria economy? Uncertainty and financial instability, as a financial agent that want to exchange money for goods, goods for money, for the purpose of investment within a short period. How can you sustain balance of trade and how can you sustain balance of trade and balance of payments? I hope you understand the question. I'm struggling to understand the question too.
Well, yeah, she's getting very technical there. So, but again, I'll just answer her question straightforward. You said, as a newbie,
Yes, as a newbie in the export market, what would you advise?
understand that before you go into the export business, which is key. Now you can sell locally if there are a lot of companies that we have even talked to, and we say, hey, you need to go into export, and they tell us, look, we can't even meet the local demand. So if you are doing very well locally, fine. But again, like I said, every business you endeavor that a minimum of 20 to 30% of their earning is via FX, right? Now, as a newbie, the first thing you have to do is determine what product is in demand internationally, right? I was on Twitter the other day and I saw an advert from Mask, the shipping line, and they were about, it's cashew season, basically advertising to Nigerians that they have the option to use mask to export cashew. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there's a huge demand for cashew out there, right? So the first step as a newbie is there's what I call a product profitability analysis. You should not go into export if you don't know the product that is in demand out there. You don't know how profitable it is going to be for you. You don't know what I call your base minimum price, which is a measure of the lowest amount you can sell your product in the international market. When you have your base minimum price greater than what you are selling here, then you should go into export. So again, determine that right product. The biggest mistake many people make is that they hear, oh, my friend is exporting fish, and they think that fish is the way to go. They hear my friend is exporting cashew. It may not work for everybody. You need to be able to assure yourself that you have the demand, right? You don't want to be exporting something that you have for 2 months and then the remaining 8 months you don't have access to it. So again, know what is in demand, do your research, and then tap into that demand.
Okay, Deborah is asking, I can see from the chat on Zoom, that can you actually export while you are still in Nigeria? Deborah is asking that question. If you can export your products while you are still in Nigeria. I don't know if Deborah was in the part one conversation because we have a lot of new people on the inside. So, Mr. Ode, just answer that in a few seconds.
You can export without ever traveling. You can open up a US company, a Canadian company without traveling. FX that they will pay into your account in those countries without ever traveling. The world has changed, right? We need to adapt to it. So again, in a simple few seconds, you can export, make millions of dollars without ever leaving Nigeria.
Okay. Let's now take a few more questions. Can I take a question from, I see God's Will there. God's Will, do you have a question? Okay, so just unmute and ask your question very quickly. And can you just go to a place that you'll be a bit audible and no movement? Just ask your question quickly so that we can tackle it. Time is money on television.
Okay. Yes, I had asked a question and I requested to know why, as a new company in Nigeria that is actually trying to engage in the export of goods, I want to know, number one, what are the goals that we need to start up with? As a beginner, you want to start exporting. What are the goals that you need to start up with so you can gain international acceptance of that goods and also start making returns as soon as possible?
Mr. Ode, I hope you heard God's Will question. Okay.
Yes, I heard his question. So his question is, as a new exporter, what good do I start exporting? Again, I say this all the time. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of products that you can export. You have leather, you have fashion, you have food. One of the easy ways to know what to export, right? And this is a solution that works for anybody. Think of what you want to export. Go to a place like Amazon. When you log in, that is the biggest platform. When you log into Amazon.com, say you want to export shea butter, for example, search shea butter on the tax bar, and then you are going to see how much a particular sample shea butter is selling. So let me give an example. I go to Amazon, I type shea butter, and I see that there's a particular seller who is selling like 3,000 to 5,000 of a particular brand on a monthly basis. Amazon shows you all that. That tells you that there's a huge demand for that product. If you are somebody who is into leather belt, for example, you go to Amazon, you type leather belt, you see that there's a seller who is selling 3,000 to 5,000 of that, a particular belt, you know that there's a demand. So again, don't start exporting products unless you know that there is a demand for that product. I have seen people who have spent 10, 20, $30,000 exporting items that at the end of the day, nobody ever bought because they did not check if there's a demand. So Amazon is a good way for you to do a quick check if there's demand for a given product.
Okay, Mr. Today, while we are still on Amazon, we also got a question from Udeme Abraham. And his question is, I would like to know how I can get my product listed on Amazon and also drive in international clients to buy from me. That's a question we also got from Abraham. I guess he's also on the inside, but we have his question documented.
So that is a very easy thing to do now. The world has changed. Sometime last year, Amazon opened up to Nigeria. So as a business in Nigeria, you can actually sell on Amazon. But again, there are a couple of requirements that are needed. One, if you are a business, they want to see, I think, a minimum of 3 months transaction. So if you open today, you need to transact business on your business account for at least 3 months before they will accept your registration. Okay, so that is one. And again, signing up is easy. Just go to sell.amazon.com. Again, I'm giving you the link, sell.amazon.com. Go there. You're going to see where it says register for an Amazon account. You can start either with a personal plan or a professional plan. It will ask you all the various things you need to submit, your CAC documentation, your passport copy, a bank. You're going to need a card, a dollar-dominated card, right? Once you have these three things, you will be able to set up your Amazon account. Now, the challenge most people have when they set up an Amazon account is that when Amazon pays you in dollars, they need to pay you from an account that is over there in the USA. So I'm going to give you two solutions that you can use. Number one solution is a company called VetoFX, right? VERTOFX.com, or you can use Payoneer. Now, VetoFX will allow you to use your Nigerian documents to open a foreign bank account. And then you can now link that foreign bank account to your Amazon account. Amazon pays your dollars earning from any product you sell into that account, and then you can log in and push that money into your Nigerian DOM account. Right? So again, follow this process. You can go to my YouTube page. It's simply my name. I have a free video. It's about 25 minutes that shows you all the process you need to set up an Amazon account. Once you go there, you should look 20, 30 days, within a week, you should have your Amazon account running if you have all these requirements.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ude, for saying that. Of course, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is, a master class of some sort for those on the inside. And those on the inside have the privilege of asking questions. Those watching at home will just be watching us. They may not have their questions answered. Now, let's go to the next question. Who else has a question? I'm seeing a question here from John Udo. And I see that John is on the line. So John is inside. I see that John has been writing. It's like you went to bring out your jotter. You've been writing since. This is a master class, free for that matter. So John, do you have a question? Because what I see here now is, how can I grow my business? And John, I don't know if you should be asking us this question, because this question is somehow, I don't want to say you're a rookie. Yes, you're a newbie or you're a greenhorn. You shouldn't be asking us this question. But I will allow you, Mr. Ude. Okay, John, do you want to ask another question, or do you want to expand on what you asked so that you can be better advised? We can't hear you, John. John,
I'm free for now.
John, can you begin? Can you start from the beginning, because we couldn't hear you? So go ahead.
Okay, for me, I think I'm fine now. My
Okay.
heart, yes, I'm okay now. Yes,
Okay, so we've answered your questions from what you've
correct,
been getting
correct.
at least
Yeah,
in the last few minutes.
exactly.
I see you've
Yes.
been jotting down a lot of stuff, so it's like your book is filled up.
Yes.
This show to me, every week, this show is like a class, for me it's like a school, but so good. So thank you very much. Who else has another question? I think I saw a question on the chat box. Okay, while I wait for the question on the chat box to come out, Sir Victor Kraft has a question. So quickly ask your question, unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Honestly, I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Onduka for this section. It's really enlightening. But the thing is that he sounded so very simple, as if it's something that I could just flip to the next page. So I would like to know what are the cost aspect of this thing that, let's say, after this class,
Yes.
after this master class, I want to go into it tomorrow.
Mm.
What are those first steps that I really have to take? Because I've been seeing his email in my inbox all this while. I really want to go into it. So I want to know what are the steps, practical
So,
steps that one can go into as a beginner. Thank you, sir.
Going into export again, I do a lot of free lectures on YouTube, right? So if you follow me, it's the same at Unduka Ude. The content is enough for anybody to start export, right? And again, when people say, how much do I need to start export? It depends on what you're exporting. I can tell you from my own story, I started export business with less than $100 into Nigeria, the Maryland under bridge. I'm sure a lot of you know Maryland under bridge, where you have all these carvings and artwork. I will go there, buy things, load up a bag, travel, put it on Amazon, sell. That's how I started my export business, right? But again, what is it that you want to export? It depends. If shea butter, if you're exporting, it just depends. And the beauty, why I always tell new people to start on Amazon is because there is no, right? You can start by selling 3 packs on Amazon. You can start by selling 100. As your sales increase, you send more to them. Okay. So again, but again, let's not get it wrong. You need capital to, you are going to need to, obviously package your product. You're going to need money to package, to buy the products, right? You're going to need is in compliance with the country that you are going to. You're going to need money to ship it there, right? Again, it depends. You may be able to see buyers who are willing to pay you money before you export. That is fine. If you have that option, good. But if you don't, you will still need some money, right? You're going to need money to pay for some licenses. So, for example, if you're exporting food, you're going to need to pay for what's the name? Phytosanitary certificates. Some of those things at the airport before you export, right? So again, the key thing is, look, I say it again, just if you go to my YouTube channel, because there's not much that I can say in 1 hour. You have so much information there that will guide you to start an export business. But again, the key that I want everybody to remember is don't start an export business if you are not sure of the demand of that product in the country you are going to. Use Amazon as a resource to run your analysis to look for the demand and then key into a product that so many people are looking for. That is the key.
Mr. Ode, I understand that Amazon is a global marketplace, but is it only Amazon that is
Yes.
the only is it the only platform, as it were? Because as
Is the
Amazon seems to be
yes.
the benchmark, as it were, you know.
Is the easiest to start off with. Is the easiest. They've made their process so easy, right? You have other platforms, Etsy. Etsy has basically cut off Nigeria because again, I don't know what they're doing. Before, you used to be able to register to sell on Etsy from Nigeria. Is no longer available. eBay is not that straightforward. In fact, eBay doesn't have as much revenue as Nigeria. The other bigger platforms, the Walmarts and the Costco, is not easy to get in there, right? So again, every Nigerian business should have a presence on Amazon because within 3 days, if you have all your documentation right, you should have an account there in 3 days. and that is where the buyers are. Amazon does about 33 to 30 to 40 billion dollars in sales on a monthly basis. You want to be where the buyers are, not anywhere else. Now, after you are on Amazon, you can now start looking at selling Africans, right? I can tell you, we have customers that we help to do their shipping who do 30 to 40 million every month, right from Nigeria. Who are they selling to? They are selling products to African stores. Some of them will go to Facebook, they type Nigerians in Houston, and they see a community of Nigerians in Houston. They begin to list their products on those platforms. Hey, I have pepper, I have this, I have that. And then you have a lot of people who reach out to them and say, oh, I like your pepper. How much can you send it to me? And that's how they start their business. From there, they begin to expand to so many places, right? So you cannot be profitable in export if you just sit down there and expect, oh, somebody to magically find the buyers for you. You have to take the initiative, follow the steps that I'm telling you, and I can tell you for a fact, in 6 months to 1 year, you will come back and thank Nancy for hosting this event.
I hope so, and they will also remember me when they start making the money, for putting this,
Exactly.
yes, together, because, it's about growing the Nigerian economy, and I know that our economy is largely
Yes.
informal. There are a lot of small businesses. There are a lot of people that also, what will just change the tide for them is about information. Because I also know there's,
It is.
information is really lacking. People do not have a sense of direction. And that was why I started this segment every month, once in a
Mm-hmm.
month, for us to bring in experts and to,
Yes.
get people on the inside to be able to ask, so some kind of masterclass, and I hope that
Mm-hmm.
we're giving you all value and you're getting value
Yes.
for it too. I see that Annie Ogochukwu has his hand raised. Annie, can you unmute and enable your video and ask a question? Okay, can you quickly ask your question? Annie, are you there? I can see you've enabled your video. Okay, while we wait for Annie to come through, Mr. Day, I have another question for you from Golden Wano. He says, how can businesses navigate government reforms and policies as they ride with the tides of political changes? This reminds me of a webinar I was on. Was it last Thursday? When I was a keynote speaker on
Yes.
why government policies matter and why you should care. I spoke on that, I think, last Thursday at a webinar.
Yes.
So please answer one. How can businesses
Mm.
navigate government reforms and policies as they ride with the tides of political changes? Political
So
change, or, yeah, it also affects the export business, doesn't it?
it does. It does. There's nothing that doesn't affect. Policies will always affect the export
Yeah.
business. So let me give an example of recent, I think it was some states in the north, because of the issues they were having with food supply, they said you can no longer
Yeah.
carry food out of those states.
From Niger
So
State
obviously,
to
imagine if
another
you were a
state.
supplier
Yes.
that, yes, you were a supplier that needed food products from there. So these government policies will definitely affect what happens with export. But the key thing is you have to adjust, right? You have to adjust. There's no hard and fast rule for it. If government says this is the way to go, we have no choice but to obey them, right? And the solution is to adjust. If but again, like I always say, the key success in export is making sure that you know how profitable a given product is before you go into exporting it. Once you have that level, enough profitability, then irrespective of what happens, you don't run into a loss. But if you are exporting a product that has just marginal profitability, anything can easily knock you off, right? And that's why I say know the process. I talk about it all the time in my YouTube videos, product profitability analysis, right? If you know how to run it, you are able to look at your cost of production, you're able to look at your shipping, you're able to look at how much to warehouse and sell it over there, and you see that there's a huge buffer, then that is the product to go. And when you have that huge buffer, you are not going to be affected by, minute policies that come in. The only policy that can affect you as an exporter is if you are exporting a particular product and government comes and says, we are banning the export of that product, right? That is probably the biggest policy that will affect you.
Or
But for
perhaps
as
there's
long as
also
you
a
have
coup in
enough
that
buffer,
country,
you should be
like we
fine.
saw in Niger, when
Exactly.
Niger, which other country that they had coups and, they weren't allowing flights and all of that. Even trade, I think it also affected even our traders here in the north because they couldn't carry their goods,
Definitely.
yes, to the other side. And like I said last
Mhm.
Thursday at the webinar which I spoke, I said after God is government. Fear God, the next person to fear is
Exactly.
government, because government within a
Yes.
twinkle of an eye can change your destiny, as it were, can change your
Your
business,
destiny.
yes, trajectory. So you must be mindful of the reforms of government and try as much as possible to know how that reform would affect you. Even if it doesn't affect you directly, it would affect you indirectly. Take a look at what's happening now, fuel scarcity across the country. And I imagine
Mhm.
that goods, especially that perhaps want to go to the ports and all of that, will be stuck on the road. So if you don't fear government, fear
Yes,
God, then fear government. That's actually what I
I
said
know.
last week.
I know.
Yes. So
Yes.
let's take this other question. The question is from Sofakan. He said, okay, I think I should just go straight because he had the preamble, she had a preamble. How do we know the kind of products that are really needed for export internationally for maximum returns in foreign currencies? Sophia, I think your question has been answered, really, because you did
Yes.
mention earlier. Okay, who else has a question on the inside so that we can quickly go ahead? Is Annie ready? Annie, um, Annie, are you ready? I saw that you had your hand up earlier. But while we wait for that, let's take this question. And the question is, what are the logistics and transportation challenges I may face in exporting my goods? Logistics and transportation challenges.
So again, it depends on the product you are exporting, right? You don't want to go and be exporting products that have a relatively short shelf life, right? Because you don't know. So let me give you a story. I was at an event at NEPC, I was a speaker. And after speaking, a gentleman came to me and said that, look, he just lost about 2 container loads of export, right? And what happened? Because of the delay in getting to the ports, right? His trailers were held up for close to 3 to 4 weeks. That was the time you had a very bad situation at the Apapa Road. He lost the contract because they knew he could not deliver on time. So they canceled the contract on him. So again, you need to take a look at all these things. And this is where knowledge of export and export contract comes in. If you are going to be doing big one, make sure in the agreement that you are signing with these companies, you have some form of clause that says, okay, if there's a delay in delivery or anything, let me lose 5%, let me lose 10%, but not that once there's a delay, they cancel the contract. So you need to be aware of some of these transportation and logistic challenges that is peculiar to a country like Nigeria. But again, when we talk about transportation and logistics, look, 95% of the world's export happens through ocean. I always tell everybody, if you want to be really profitable with export, if you want to export to the next level, you should consider ocean as the shipping source, right? And this makes you more attractive to buyers out there. Because if I were exporting, say, 1,000 pieces of fish, and I go to ship it via air, I'm probably going to pay close to $10,000 to ship those products. But that $10,000 that I'm shipping it via air, I can do it for like 1,000 via sea. You can see how much you can save,
Yeah, but it
right?
also
So
takes
again, but
longer.
it,
It
it
takes longer
depends.
by sea too, Mr. Day. Yeah,
It takes longer, yes.
yeah.
But again, when you reach that level, so probably this is probably more for the bigger
Advanced,
companies.
yes.
When you reach that level where you are looking at going selling to retail stores, you need to consider that option. So the logistic challenges really depends on the particular item, where you are, and things like that. There's no hard and fast rule that says this is what you are going to face. It just depends on the particular circumstance.
Okay, I can see that Isaiah is raising his hands up. Isaiah, are you still there? So ask your question very quickly.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much, Mr. Udoka. I'll be looking forward to get in touch with you. And my name is Mr. Isaiah Umude. I'm the CEO of Happy Life Import and Export Limited. I was opportune to carry out my first export through your sister company here in Abuja, Ship Niger. That was last month. And I find out that the cost of shipment is very, very high. Imagine the value of your product is not more than 150,000, and the cost to ship that product is up to 450,000. So at the time when the product gets to US, because I ship the product to US, by the time my potential customer received the product, the feedback I got from him was very, very negative. He told me the value of those products is extremely high, because by the time I add the value of the product and the cost of shipment, everything was about 600 and something.
Okay, so what's your question, Isaiah? Because we're pressed for time.
So my major question is that why is it that the cost of shipment is very, very
high? Okay, okay.
Very good. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Let me answer that question.
Yes.
It's very simple. Remember that the airlines who are shipping these products, they base their rates on dollar. Right? And that is what is affecting you. So if the airlines are charging you $10 per kg to ship an item, by the time you convert $10 per kg, you said you shipped it last month. So by the time you convert $10 per kg into Naira, it runs to almost 16,000 per kg. And again, it depends on the level of service you are looking for. And that's why I said it earlier when somebody was talking about logistics challenges. As an exporter, if you want to go big, you need to begin to consider ocean, because where you paid 16,000 for air is probably going to be 2,000-3,000 via ocean, right? And these are some of the things, you see, we make the mistake to think that every buyer out there wants their product tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. We've seen that a lot of buyers, when you tell them, look, this is going to be the cost for air, this is going to be the cost for sea, can I send you small samples via air so that within the next 2-3 months, you will get the rest via sea? You show them the costing. A lot of buyers are accepting that process, right? So there's nothing we can do in terms of the cost, because the dollar is affecting the cost of everything. The only option you have to look at is looking at other options such as sea, and then talking to your buyers to accept lower pricing for a slightly longer delivery time frame.
Okay. Deborah, you have a question very quickly, because we have less than 5 minutes to end this show.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Nancy. Like I always tell you, you are embodiment of excellence.
I'm not a doctor.
And Mr. Nduka, you are embodiment of knowledge. I appreciate both of you. God bless you. My question is this: the reason why I decided I want to go into export is for me to have profit. Now, I want you to explain to me, sir, the balance between export, profit, global inflation, and taxation. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that would sound like another master class. Export, inflation.
That is, in fact, it's more than a master class.
Deborah, you're sending us to an economics class.
Again, Deborah, I tell people this. I'm going to just deal on profitability, because I'm not an expert on taxation and all those things. You know, where you make your profit, that's where taxes come in based on your profit and your net earning and all that. Profitability, know the demand know the product that is in demand. It is the solution. Know the product that is in demand out there. Run what I call your profitability analysis. For those that come to us that we help, look, if you come to any of our series where I train people on how to go into export, we spend, out of a 4-day training, intensive training that we do for serious businesses, 2 days out of it is dedicated to determining the right product to export. This is where the key is. You must be able to know how to run your profitability analysis. You must be able to take a product and know how much profit you make if you are selling it on Amazon, how much profit you make if you are selling directly to Africans in diaspora, how much profit do you make when you sell to retail stores, how much profit do you make when you sell to African stores. You must know that. That is the key. A lot of people go into export without even being sure. Oh, my brother is out there. My brother said I should ship this item. They're going to sell it for me. At the end of the day, by the time the brother sells it, you are not making anything. So that is the key. I'm not going to go into taxation and inflation and all that because, again, that is an economic class. But for you to go into export, just figure out how profitable and what demand there is for a product. Select the right product and start exporting it. Now, let me round up with this. A lot of businesses make the mistake of thinking that the products that they manufacture is actually the product that they must export. You may be manufacturing a product that is not profitable outside. So why export it? And that's how a lot of them get into trouble. So again, know the profitability before you start export.
Okay, so Deborah, for the inflation side, of course, inflation would also, inflation is a component of your profitability too, because inflation will also play a part. It depends on the product that you want to manufacture or you want to export. If you need raw materials for that, of course, inflation, and if inflation is high, it's going to impact that. There's no time. I would have gone a bit deeper for you. But just as we close, and I know we have a minute, Oluwafemi, please ask your question very quickly. You have 10 seconds. We have a minute to close quickly. Well, Fabi, your network is not good. Fabi, your network is not good. Victoria, let me give you that space very quickly in a few seconds.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, my Nancy, for this opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Nduka, for making our time to be with us. I want to find out, by the time you discover a product that is very profitable and is in high demand, is it okay to make arrangement for warehouses out there to house your products as it goes out to Amazon for sales? Is it going to be profitable that way, or in order to cut short the problems of logistics and transportation?
Okay, I think that's a good question. Very quickly. Yeah.
Beautiful question. And that is the solution we offer, right? Because again, if you listen to what I'm saying, if you have a warehousing out there, which is what we can help you with, you are able to ship via sea, cut your cost from $10,000 to like $1,000. You save close to 80 to 90%. You put it in the warehouse, and as is needed on Amazon, you just move it to Amazon. So that's the solution that we are offering. It is the best solution, and it enables you not only to sell on Amazon. You can have the products there, and you are going on Google searching for African stores. You reach out to them, you tell them that you have these products. They say, send us a sample from your warehouse there in the USA. We will send a sample to them. If they are okay with it, you can now come in and send.
Okay. I want to say many thanks to you, Mr. Ode, for doing this again with us. This is the part 2. I don't want to say we'll do a part 3, but in fact, I was just sent a message from someone on the inside, or perhaps from someone watching. Can you organize a physical or online meeting for many of us that can't join this program now so that we can continue to do this? I will think about that and see what we can do, but thank you very much, Mr. Ude, for joining us again today. And thank you all to the insiders, and I hope that at least the 2 parts we've done, that we've really added value, and even for those that are watching. So thank you again. That's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. Thank you all for being a part of it. I am Nancy Naji. Be the best you can be, and be the change that you want to see. Bye now. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content.